The missing piece to making changes in any aspect of your life. I know this sounds a little bit bold, but seriously, I've been studying the mind for 15 years now, and I have put in practice these techniques, these insights, these tools for the last 15 years for myself and for thousands of people around the world, and I have seen amazing results, and I want to share this with you today. So thank you very much if you're watching. If you're watching live, hashtag live on social media. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay, that would be great. If you're liking this, if you want to know more, you can subscribe, you can follow, and the more you engage, the more people get to see this. And I want to share this with the world, my findings in these last 15 years on how to start being able to make changes in every aspect of your life, as I was saying before. So here we go, let's get started. Making changes. Look at this a second. Let me bring this to you as an example to make it easier, right? When you are holding on to something, right? Imagine that you believe that, I don't know, the water doesn't get you wet, or with fire doesn't burn, or whatever it is that, yeah, I believe that you might have. If somebody comes over and starts challenging you in a bad way, telling you that, oh, you're wrong, you shouldn't think like this, you should change. How do you normally react, mostly when it's a loved one, when it's your partner, when it may be a family member, when they come at you, judging you or criticizing you in whatever you might be believing? How do you tend normally to react when that happens? And the answer for most people is that we tend to shut down. Although the person might be giving really good valid reasons on why we should be believing what they're believing, we tend to shut down and not listen, and normally get into this or defensive mode, right? Not shutting down, or attacking mode, where, oh, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, I know what I'm thinking, whatever. And we go into this war with somebody else, right? And normally there's very little construct, very little building, and a lot of name calling, judging, criticizing, and people shutting down, right? That is normal for most people. Most people tend to shut down when they don't feel listened, when they don't feel understood, when they don't feel supported. They tend to shut down. Type a yes in the chat if you have been there, where you have shut down when somebody was judging you, criticizing you about something that you believed in, right? That you thought was right. Normally, again, when we are treated like that, we tend to close down, we tend to shut down, right, to protect ourselves. It's a survival mechanism. Or we tend to also attack back, right? Fight, or, shut down to protect ourselves, protective mechanisms. We can agree that most people, when a loved one does that to them, they tend to shut down. So if we tend to shut down when somebody treats us like that, why do we expect something different when we do that to ourselves? I've seen so many gurus, so many big names out there teaching these type of things that basic is authoritarian, to try to make changes, right? They teach to use authoritarian methods to try to make changes in other people's lives. And although it works for some people it might work, it doesn't work for most people. For most people, it's not working. So if it's not working, you tried it. If you're one of those that tried it and it worked for you, perfect, good for you. The only thing I'm going to say, that later on, you're going to pay for it. You can say whatever you want, you can think whatever you want, but later on, you're going to pay for it. It could be a burnout. It could be high levels of stress, anxiety. I've seen a lot of people, and I worked in emergency care with stress. No, stress levels were something that we had to get used to, right? Not dealing with our emotions and being very authoritarian with ourselves. And I've seen the impact that that has in the body or in the mind. I've seen a lot of people with, weight problems. I've seen a lot of people with a different type of addictions. So it doesn't work. It's old school, and it doesn't really work the best way possible. So what is the new school? What is this that I'm talking about? The missing piece to making changes in any aspect of your life. What does that mean? we need to understand how the mind works, right? How the mind works, one of the people that I've been studying and following for many years says, and I loved it how he says it, right? Many mentors might say it too, is that the ego wants to feel loved and accepted. So if a part of us is holding on to, behaviors that we're trying to change, and we understand that that part of us wants to feel loved and accepted, it doesn't need authoritarianism. It doesn't need blaming, finger pointing, judging, criticizing. What it needs is love and acceptance, understanding, support. That doesn't mean, because a lot of people take this the wrong way and say, but Tommy, I'm not going to accept that I drink because, I feel pain. And that is a big problem, because it's not accepting as, okay, keep doing it. It's the other way around. While you reject that part of it, while you reject that behavior, you're creating more pain. As I was telling at the beginning of this conversation, as you're creating more pain, that part of you is going to go back to that behavior that created in the first place to try to manage the pain. Or look at this, as I always say, there are two main human drivers: seeking for love or numbing the pain of the lack of love. Those are the two main human drivers. Tony Robbins talks about, I think it is, I don't remember exactly, but he says about pain or pleasure. I call it numbing the pain of the lack of love or seeking for love. That is, for me, the most basic human, driver. Human driver. The things that create the human behaviors. So if I understand that, what I need to be able to dissolve a behavior is love and acceptance. I need to love and accept that behavior, understand why it's there. Imagine that I'm procrastinating doing these lives. I'm procrastinating talking to people for my business. I'm procrastinating going to the gym. I'm procrastinating, start the diet. Okay, instead of judging myself, criticizing myself because I'm doing those things, I would rather ask, what is the pain behind those behaviors? Because procrastination is protecting me from something deeper. Procrastination is the solution to something deeper. Procrastination is not the problem. Procrastination is the solution, is preventing me from having more pain. Not going to the gym. You might say, but tell me, okay, what's the benefit of not going to the gym? I have the perfect example for you. You might say, but tell me, there's no benefit of not going to the gym. Let me ask you this. If you go to the gym, do you think that people might judge you because of your looks, of your weight, or something like that? And most people that are very honest with themselves are going to say, like, yes, Tommy, I don't like people seeing me in the gym. There you go. The mind is protecting you from judgment or criticism. But nobody said anything yet. Yes, you are already. You are talking those things inside of your mind. As you're talking those things inside of your mind, the part of you that doesn't want to be judged and criticized will hide and not go to the gym to protect you from that pain. So there's a benefit. People might say, okay, tell me, what's the benefit in eating? Okay, it's going to be different for each person. But I have worked with people that they would fall into eating candy, eating sugar, because that's the way their parents treated them, in a good sense. Like they gave them treats, right? Sweets to make them feel good. So now the person has associated that feeling good is with sugar, with treats, with candy. So now they're giving themselves candy as a way to try to feel good. Again, seeking for love, numbing the pain of the lack of love and acceptance. So eating sweets was a way of looking for love. But you might say, but even that person, right? But my parents are not even around. It doesn't matter, because as the mind is living in the past, it's still going to reproduce that behavior to try to find love and acceptance. Yes, that's how the mind works. The mind has no time. So it's running that script over and over again. If I eat sweets, I'm going to feel better about myself. That's how it works. Type a yes in the chat if this is making sense. I see some people there in the live. So please engage with this. Type there, comment, send me some love. So more people are able to see this. Remember, yes? So if there's a part of me that is lacking love and is creating behaviors to seek for love externally or try to numb the pain of the lack of love, what does it need? Every human being needs love. That's why I call this a falling in love with yourself, because it has to do with that. What that part of me needs, that built this behavior of procrastination to protect me, not going to the gym to protect me from the pain of others and from mainly from the pain from myself. That is a benefit. That is the behavior to prevent pain. So instead of hating myself more for not going to the gym, for eating, for procrastinating, for not doing my taxes, from not asking somebody out, for not asking for a raise at work, for not getting more clients for my company, whatever it is that you're beating yourself up for not doing, you need to stop that and start giving yourself love. Find that part of you that is protecting itself by that behavior. And you might say, but tell me, what are you talking about? Yes, there are memories from the past that the mind is using, right? Like maybe when you were a kid, your mom rejected you because you were not behaving correctly. So that part of you is still running in the background as if it were happening today. All our unresolved issues from our past are running in the background, not maybe at the same time, but many are running in the background. And those unresolved issues from the background, the mind is going to try to protect you from going through a similar situation from the past. So imagine again, my mom rejected me because I didn't get a good grade. I didn't behave correctly. She screamed at me. So the mind is going to think about that and it's going to say, wait, if I go to the gym, I might get people laughing at me. If I was bullied at school, if I go to the gym, I'm going to be bullied again. So the mind is reliving that past unresolved issue of being bullied as a kid and projecting a potential future according to that. And as there was nobody there to help me process what was going on, to really understand why I was bullying, why I was bullied, nobody helped me go through that. I don't know how to go through this challenge today of going to the gym. So I'd rather stay at home. I'd rather not do what's best for me because I'm scared of being judged and criticized how I was judged and criticized in the past. So we can heal the past so that it doesn't affect us today, so that we can do what we need to do. And I've seen a lot of people through this. People would choose negative habits that could really destroy them. Smoking. They were having already lung problems, right? Physical problems, and they were still smoking because of this, because the pain they were covering with a cigarette was bigger at that moment in their mind. Don't get me wrong, in their mind, the pain was bigger, the emotional pain, than the physical pain they were going through. So they couldn't stop smoking. They couldn't stop eating. They couldn't go to the gym. They couldn't stop procrastinating. They couldn't whatever. And that's what I see a lot of people doing. So the missing piece in making changes in any aspect of your life, people, seriously, is love. Seriously, is loving the different parts of you that created. So little Tommy, hugging myself, thank you, buddy, for finding a way to protect us. That is the first step. There's much more steps. I'm not going to be able to cover them all of this in this video. I'm going to do more trainings around this. If you're liking this, type again a 1 in the chat. If you're liking this, if this is making sense, thank you, Kim, for watching this. So we need to understand how the mind works to be able to start making changes. And the mind, the ego, needs to feel loved and accepted. People that are buying stuff for them, for them to try to feel good, love and acceptance. People that are looking for partners to feel loved, love and acceptance. People that are looking to have kids, love and acceptance. People are looking for a career, for titles, for degrees, for money. Most of the times, they're looking for love and acceptance. That's why I've seen a lot of millionaires out there that are struggling, even though they have a lot of money, they don't feel good about themselves. Because although they have the money, deep down, they still don't feel good enough, no matter what number it is. I have worked with millions that told me, oh, Tommy, when I make 5 million, when I make 20 million, when I make 50 million, I'm going to be happy. And they already had 5 million. They already had 10 million. It never stops. It's a race that you're never going to win. Why? Because it's nothing external that is going to make you feel good. It's internal. Is loving and accepting every part of me, even the inner critic. A lot of people want to dissolve the inner critic. Let's go and talk about the inner critic, that voice that is, bouncing on top of you all the time, telling you that you're doing everything wrong, that you're not good enough, that you will never make it. And what people do is they go into war with the inner critic, and they see the inner critic as the enemy. No, that doesn't work. And I've seen a lot of people in positive intelligence and many programs that they treat the inner critic in RTT and different types of work that I've seen. They treat the inner critic as the worst enemy. And it's not an enemy. It's just a part of you that has learned through the treatment that mom and dad gave you, maybe, that judging yourself might bring a change. Because back then, when you were a little kid, when mom and dad judge you or criticize you at school, when you were judged or criticized, many times, not always, but many times, you tend to do what you were supposed to do. So you were so scared of that authoritarian figure that you ended up doing what you were supposed, quote unquote, to do, behave correctly, right? The problem is that nowadays you don't have that authoritarian figure on the outside. So you might look for a mentor, you might look for a guru to help you with that, but that is not the way. I'd rather be my own, right? Mentor, guru, coach, don't get me wrong. And although I have people that help me, don't get me wrong, I try to become my own guide, where I try to do things out of love for myself, where I eat healthier, I go to the gym, I make changes to feel better about myself from a place of love and acceptance, not from a place of authoritarian. Because many times when people try from authoritarian, they go from authoritarian to permissiveness, authoritarian permissiveness, authoritarian permissiveness. So they go back and forth, and they're not able to keep a routine, stay on track, because they have authoritarian, rebellion, authoritarian, rebellion. That doesn't work. I've been following a diet for 15 years now. And yes, sometimes I get off the diet and I eat some things, right? For 8 years, I was able to not eat sugar at all. I eliminated sugar from my system, from my diet, right? Nowadays, I eat sugar maybe once a week, or sometimes once every 2 weeks, sometimes one every 3 weeks, or sometimes once a month. And I was able to not eat sugar for 8 years, none of it. I was able to stick with that. I have been able to stay away from, because I believed in, that's each person can do the same thing, whatever they want, sorry. I stopped eating pork now for 15 years. No pork for 15 years. No red meat for 15 years. I'm not a vegan, but I'm kind of close to vegetarian with a little bit of fish every now and then. I eat fish once a month, maybe once every 2 months. I eat a lot of vegetables and lots of other stuff, right? So how was I able to make those transitions? First, there was authoritarian, of course, but then it was out of love, because I started learning these techniques and I started loving myself each time more, and I was able to start making change. So the missing piece in being able to make changes in any aspect of your life is loving and accepting the parts of you that you want to change. And it's not about changing, because again, procrastination was created as a protective mechanism. So you bring love and acceptance. Now the part of you that created procrastination to avoid pain, there's no more pain, there's love. As there's love, I don't need procrastination anymore. So I can start taking actions. I have helped hundreds of people that were stuck, not being able to move forward, to start loving themselves and start taking actions in any aspect of their life. Some took shorter, some took longer. It depends how hard you are being with yourself, how difficult your childhood was. It might take a bit longer, it might take a bit shorter. It depends on each person. But practicing loving and accepting yourself will make the change in your life. If you keep trying to make changes, it's going to make it very difficult if you don't do them through unconditional love. If you don't love and accept the part of you that is eating, not going to the gym, procrastinating, not asking for a raise, not doing lives, not asking for money, whatever it is in any aspect, if you don't love and accept that part of you, it's going to make it very difficult to be able to start making changes. Again, if you're watching #live, if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching replay. Engage on my stuff. The more you engage, the more people get to benefit from this, and it's free. So the only thing I ask in exchange is a little bit of love, a like on my video, you know, some emotion there, some comments. If you have any questions, type in them here. Have you tried authoritarian ways, and has it worked for you? If it's not, it's because it's not the new way. The new way is totally different than that, and it looks more like unconditional loving and accepting every part of me. If you want to know more, I have some free training resources. And if you're looking for somebody to help you with this, if you want to accelerate this process, if you don't want to do it by yourself, if you want some guidance, I've been doing this for 15 years. I have helped a lot of people. I'm helping tons of people. Right now, I'm working with like 30 people one-on-one. I love what I do, and I'm helping a lot of people out there learn these techniques to help them in their process of healing, reprogramming behaviors, changing behaviors the right way. Stop fighting with your mind, stop fighting with yourself, start loving yourself, and see how that can transform your life. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.